going to start the recording for the December 1st hour session. Today we're going to talk about business plans, but we also have Bill Murphy, our preferred lender, on hand to kind of give some TRID updates and some suggestions on making deals go smoothly with all the TRID changes. So we're going to start with Bill, and then we'll move into our business plan section. So, Bill, what's going on with TRID?
It's not as bad. It's just more time. It's time consuming to get deals closed from the back end. So what I wanted to talk about today was that make sure that you get everything up front to the lender, and you communicate throughout. A few of the things that we've seen kind of be sticking points with TRID are not getting the agent information, all the agent, I was talking to Tracy about this, all the agent information up front. License numbers, I mean, Kelly, my father just had to chase down some different license numbers. That's crazy, that was just nuts. The agent had to be away and home to get us the license information.
Right.
Just kind of silly. One of the other things, so with that, we need everything, not just the agent's name, number, and email address. We need address, contact info, and the license number with the commission.
So you need the agent's name, the office address, or the agent's home address? Agent's office address?
Yeah, the office address. That's my belief. Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Do we have the license number on the invoice? Yes. The license number, yeah. But talking to Bill, I was kind of contemplating bringing back a revived version of a transaction for sheet. And I was kind of kicking around Bill before the meeting, like, get pushback over that. It's just extra stuff. But Bill's suggesting that we do it because then everybody's got everything up front. So I'll probably create a simplified version of a transaction fee that we can use in .loop. The nice thing about if you're using .loop, you can keep updating it as information comes in. You're sharing it with Bill on there, sharing it with the other side, and it'll. I made one for that. How do you think? Oh, in .loop? Yeah, okay. So, statement. All right. We got the license numbers in there?
Everything's on one page.
Well,
easy enough to add.
Yeah.
I just had name, phone, email.
No, MLS doesn't have the license. MLS does not have a license. I mean, you could, but you could look in the state, but I wouldn't recommend it because they need an office license number also, and you may not know how to. You're not looking for the broker's license number. I have a broker's license number, but our office LLC, or corporation has its own real estate license. And you're not going to know what the. We're Exit Road Partners, but I have ERP LLC, and I have the Western Auburn, and I have ER Partners Inc. Shrewsbury. So you're not going to know those entities. You're going to have to ask the other agent for that information. And if you're on the buyer side, you're going to have to drive that. You're the buyer's agent. Your lender for the buyer is going to need this information. You're going to have to drive getting that from the listing broker.
Tell me what you want to get rid of and what you want to add, and then I'll just
Okay.
for it.
All right.
So, like I know you don't need all that stuff in the lower right-hand corner. That's just,
Right.
That's
some agents might want to use that. Right. Somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. As we gather this information, I mean, it's always helpful to, as soon as you have the accepted offer, to send along the list sheet and the list agent information as well, so we can reach out. There's just a lot of agents that maybe they're not even part of the board, or you just never heard of them. It's tough to get. You Google search them, and half the sites don't give you all the information. Not really their correct information, all kinds of other things. So get that as the buyer's agent is working with the lender, as much details as you possibly can. The other thing that seems to be setting us back is the date. This has kind of always been stressed. The between the inspection dates, the commitment dates, the contingency dates, the closing date, dates need to be reset, and they never, ever are reset. And I know that comes down to agent attorney kind of talking, but it just seems to be, no matter what, that the contingency date, mortgage contingency date coming, we don't even have an appraisal. So the things to pay attention to on setting your dates are when you first put down your closing date. So if you're 45 days out, let's not take the 10 days for the home inspection. Let's get that done right away. If there's home inspection issues, let's look at those dates again. Now, appraisals don't get ordered until the home inspections or all negotiations are through. And fine, and everybody's satisfied. Then P&S. Now, appraisal can't get released until P&S. So we need to really keep looking at these things as we go through the process, not just set it and forget it and think that it's all going to close, because then you have just frantic buyers, sellers, attorneys all freaking out. And you know who they're blaming? Lender, because we don't even have the appraisal.
Right.
We're not going to send in the loan to the underwriter appraisal. So I would stress resetting those dates. And PNSs are getting rid of it. I'm still seeing so many attorneys, it's mostly on the seller side, that aren't real estate attorneys. I had a guy call my office from Middlesex County, screaming and yelling at my assistant because of the contingency date. He wanted to know when the application date was made for the mortgage because of TRID, and that could have impacted. He was like demanding, and I ended up talking to him. He wasn't a real estate attorney. He was just a seller's friend. And he says, your clients are in jeopardy of losing the house in this purchase. And I said, why? I said, we know the appraisal. Why was it delayed? Why was this? Why was that? I need the information. I got permission. And he doesn't. We're not going to share it. We're not going to share the personal information. So the appraisal got delayed. And you know why the appraisal got delayed? Is because the list. So I went back and looked at it after I got the phone with him. The list agent was away for a week, then rescheduled and she got back. So now you added 10 days on to the appraisal for it to get scheduled. You're talking 20 weeks. So that's why the commitment date's due. We just got the appraisal yesterday, commitment date's due today. So it's kind of, everyone needs to communicate. And again, it's just, if you're listing a house, oh my God, I can't stress enough to use a real estate attorney, especially now. They don't understand this kind of stuff. The things that they ask, the things that they demand, it's just, it's over the top. And it's, borderline unethical, if you ask me. So, we talk about it all the time. Just deal with who you know, who you like, who you trust. And it makes things more smooth. Communication, and again, this is all stuff that we've always talked about, but communicating throughout the process to take over. Hey, I know the clip is due next week. How will we look? So just kind of the check-ins. We try to give status updates just to let everybody know where we're at with all parties involved. A few of the other things, I had one of our first TRID loans closed in October. TRID came out October 3rd. The way the CD works that has to be issued, the attorneys don't issue it. The lender issues it. So we send out an email stating that they have until midnight to accept it. We sent it out at noontime. We had a guy that worked 16-hour shifts, and he said, manufacturing, whatever, not very tech savvy. He says, I'm not going to be at a computer. And he was supposed to close on Thursday, October, the end of the month. And I'm not going to be able to do it until midnight. I can't do this. They have to accept the CD. Then the 3 days tick. Once we have receipt of that, he couldn't do it till Tuesday, so we couldn't close till Friday. But everybody was okay. But you can imagine if that was a simultaneous closing of things along the line.
So that's an email disclosure that they have to log on. And
yes. Yeah, so I'll give you an example. Just we send it out. So we send it out and we call to make sure that they know it's not their own checks, so you know all they want. So this is from my process. Good afternoon, good morning. The closing disclosure will be mailed today from our secured website to LEA. Please be on the lookout for it. We need you to receive, accept, e-sign it as soon as possible to meet the closing date. You only have until midnight tonight. That's if it's sent the same day. She puts the date, whatever it is. And then she's very simply just says, you have until midnight to complete this authorization code. To open it is your last four digits of your social. Pretty easy, right? Let us know if you have any questions. So we send this and we call everybody because it could get missed from that.
So no matter what day you send that, it has to be.
No, if it not if it's like 5 days prior to.
Oh, okay.
That's just the 3 days.
Right.
Okay. But here's the other thing: the CDs, what I'm finding, are changing. A lot. It's the closing disclosure. She had settlement statement. I'm sorry. That's the truth. That's the true terminology.
No more hugs.
No more hugs. So it's the CDs your value your closing costs. There's a seller CD and there's a buyer CD, which that's what they need to sign. That's what they need to sign to close on time.
Well, sometimes people do it blurry right after they get the list.
So if you send it out in 5 days, they've got basically 2 days. It has to be signed 3 days before the vote.
Right. But we just want to the CDs are changing. So there's, as long as it's not a change of circumstance, as long as it's not, and remember that this is what we didn't know way back when. The CD changes. It could be taxes. It could be
Water,
payoff, water, so that's okay. It's not affecting the APR. So now what I'm seeing is, now this is really confusing for the clients. They get an initial CD, then they get a final CD. So they get the initial CD, and that could be 3 days prior to. Then they get the final CD, and that could be the day before. They still have to sign it.
the water adjustment,
Or whatever. So just know that they can change in that. I remember, we didn't know from our first trainings on this is if there's a sewer adjustment or if there's a water adjustment, oh my God, we're gonna have to restart the clock. You don't have to.
But the attorneys in Boston who first came up to the board.
Remember? Yeah.
Scared the shit out of us.
Right. So they were wrong. They did.
They were horrible.
They were
Agents
completely
were
wrong.
talking about, just giving them the oil left in the tank and everything. It was like,
No, it's fine. Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're like, we're just gonna tell Marcel you got to give the oil to whatever oil is left.
Our list price includes oil.
Right. It's like freaking out over nothing. I knew that was something.
Yeah, so that's okay. They have to accept the CD. We'll follow up and speak to everyone on it.
But realistically, COVID is basically.
So now the CD.
That's what I do.
The buyer and the seller
I just
don't
write everything out
sign
in 60 days.
the same CD.
No, anymore. No. No. Like I said, Trick started October 3rd. So any application after October 3rd, we closed 5 loans on October 3rd. 50. So here we are, December 1st. Through November, 59% of almost 60% of all our closings were trick closings, which means they were done in 45 days. So as a company, we're still closing. And I know not every company is the same, but as a lender,
Right.
we were so dialed in. I mean, our corporate was so dialed in legally with Washington and everything on this stuff that they were more than well trained on everything to make sure we can still close. 30 days if need, but that's when I go back to
So
everybody.
it's still possible 30 days.
Yes, it is.
Everybody, we probably wanted to do 7-day inspection time.
Yeah.
You have to have all the right people
You have to.
moving all the right people moving at the right speed. Because the big question I get is, a lot of times buyers like to close in 10 months, especially if they're first-time buyers. Like you're getting, like agents be asking questions like, okay, it's around Thanksgiving. We're trying to make offers on houses. Am I looking at end of January now? I mean, they're wanting to close at the end of the year. Is it possible? Sounds like it is. You just need to, everything needs to be
The hustle.
hustle. like, there's no shopping for a mortgage after you got the front end. Day one, go with your lender that you pick.
Right.
Which I'm sure 90% of the people do.
They're still gonna, most people are still gonna do that.
Right.
Right.
Because they're
Unless-
accustomed to 6
Unless
to 8
the
weeks.
CFPP is gonna put big banners, billboards out there saying you have a right to shop for a loan after you have an agreement. Nobody's gonna.
That's gonna drive everyone crazy.
Nobody's gonna, well, the people who were gonna do that anyway are still gonna do that. Right. This big change isn't gonna have people shopping around. They're just,
That's what I'm saying. Once
It's
you've
too
got a
much work
relationship
to
with a
expose
lender,
your
you pretty much
financial
just go with
underwriting.
it, you know?
people will not want
Well,
to do it again.
the thing is, I understand the shopping thing. I get it, and I think that that's wonderful. But how about somebody that's a marginal deal at best, an FHA 620 score, had some hiccups, and it takes some really creative financing to get it done. Go shop all you want, but you're gonna get there's time. I mean, I probably take 5 denials a month from other lenders when we get it done, just because we know how to do it. My process underwriting team just knows how to fix things. Good luck shopping. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we're able to, you can shop. Now I understand like super clean vanilla deal. You're gonna get shopped. I mean that's fine. Someone that knows that they're gonna.
But don't you usually do all that before? Before you,
Most
like
people
you
do.
you find your lender before you
Well,
get involved with it.
I mean, as an agent, you should recommend that.
Yeah. It's a relationship. It can't be transactions. It's not transaction. It's gotta be a relationship. Like it's just like when you're working with you go out and show them 20 houses, and then they show up at an open house, say they're not working with anybody. They drive you crazy. You know what I mean? So it's about setting expectations and letting them know how this needs to play out. If you go to an open house, you say you're gonna work with Matt. You say you're gonna say you're gonna work with these people. How many times does that happen? One time's too many. Right?
Yeah.
And I feel bad when it does happen. But you've got to tell them to work with their agent. They think they're getting a better deal. That's the other thing is they don't realize that they're not paying.
Right.
They think they're getting a better deal.
So one of the questions I had with closing disclosure, I know it's been separated now to protect the buyers. Past we would always pass a copy of the HUD for our closing packages for files. Probably we won't be getting a copy of buyers.
We can't send it. We can't send
You
it.
can't send.
No, we can't. Your buyer can. I mean,
I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, I'm not
just asking for that. We got it? I don't know. I mean, asking for the buyers to send us their closing disclosure. I mean,
We asked for the HUD when it's over, but I never asked for anything else ahead of time. And I
no, I'm talking about for our closing files moving forward to this point. I don't know.
it's probably a legal question.
I mean, if an attorney sends it to us, okay, if they don't.
On the seller side, it's just,
Yeah, seller side's gonna have everything you need on it, right?
just,
I'm not sure if you went to your final today.
so Jess won't be able to send us the buyers. Basically, the buyer will be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, because of financial protection. Because it has their, just like the HUD does, but it's, that's the CFPB's thing. That's why they don't even let the attorney sign. And I don't like that setup because you have closers changing things that the attorney sent, and the attorneys are more knowledgeable on settlement statements as we do all day long. So that's one thing that we've had to really pay attention to is our closers to make sure that we're all on the same page. And they have to, like, I can't send it. They have to send it, and I say, you could tell me as soon as you send it because I need to know, and then I'll jump on a call and make sure they're okay. So it's kind of a little backwards on how that has to work because it doesn't feel right, but it's a matter of getting used to it. So they see their numbers before I see them because they have to send it from our closing department. So then the attorneys and I get to look at it after the buyer's already looked at it, and that kind of stinks. Yeah. I always like to be the one to go over it. So it kind of changes that dynamic. at the end a little bit. But it's a matter of just, playing the game the way the rules change, Just, um, so that was the big thing, initial and final CDs are commissioned. Revisit these. I think we've been emailing everything. We've had some people come in to sign that day.
So beware if you're working with a client that you're having to do handwritten offers with because of challenged, then those are going to be harder to close under these new laws. So if you're working with buyers and Duluth's not a problem for them, you're probably okay. Duluth's a problem for them, beware.
I just want to, this is what Kelly wrote. She said it's really important, this is what I said as well. She says it's really important that the agents and the attorneys see any delays in the transactions, such as home inspections, negotiations, signatures on P&S. Again, the appraiser can't do release without that P&S, and that's kind of a relatively new thing. A lot of appraisers will just release it off the purchase. They can't do that anymore. Appraisal appointments, and then they adjust the commitment date, closing date accordingly as soon as they see fit, or ask, hey, are we still on track? It's so tight now, so let's find that out. Times of the essence, which created with these dates adjusted in the beginning, it sets up failure, and a lot of angry parties want to look at these things are addressed at the beginning. The parties involved can understand rather than the company's final commitment in closing. So again, it's setting the expectations. Now, this is from her standpoint. There's a lot of time and planning and coordinating with the of the CD, submitting it to underwriting and signing to a closer. So she was just set up templates for our clients to kind of ease them into it on what to expect. And then we follow up as soon as that's just so okay. You got to open it, you got to get it to your computer, you got to figure out a way to get this open, especially if it's at 3 days. So that's kind of some of the things that we've been noticing with the closing and trade. I do like the LE. The LE is the new good faith estimate. I really like it. It's a lot more simplistic and understandable for the clients to understand. Although they still ask the same questions. How much a closing costs? $3,500 plus your taxes and your insurance. Well, you told me $3,500. I said $6,000. I said, remember, we talked about taxes and insurance. That's your frequency. So no matter how many times you say it, you have to say it again. And that's where I think that as soon as our LE is sent along with our disclosures, we call every single borrower and say, listen, you're going to have questions. We look at this every day. There's going to be some things you don't understand. Let's talk about it, because that's where you're going to talk. That's where you're going to, they don't understand. I just had the call yesterday. Kid, if you told me $3,500, I said, yeah, $3,500. I also told you that you have to account for your taxes and your insurance. And he said, so we got talking. He said, okay, I didn't understand that because it says on the LE closing costs, and then it says other costs. Well, it does if you go back. I mean, you got to go through it. Have you guys seen that lease? I'll send you.
When do they get that?
That's application. Within 3 days of application.
So if they're submitting an application before they're getting offers, then they're going to have a good idea of what their closing costs are.
They don't do it. No, because think about it. In order for it to be an application, you have to have a property address. Right. You have to have an accepted offer.
So what do you, for someone that wants to get pre-approved before they have a property identified, what do you give? Recall?
No, it's a pre-approval, but because we want to be to verify everything.
But it's not a full loan app.
It's TBD. Not technically a full loan app because of the address. But every 5 out of the 6 fields are in it.
So on our offer form at the bottom of the first page, it says that the buyer must submit an application by. A lot of times in the past, our agents have put in probably applied. That technically not.
Now we're going to say within 1 day, 2 days, 3
technically,
days.
they have not applied for October 3rd, yes.
Yes. Okay.
After October 3rd, no.
So I gotta advise the agent, it's gotta be 1 or 2 days after.
Some agents put 10 days and then they want to quick close. So, no, I'm not kidding.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta, I like
Come
it.
to our classes.
You're gonna be quick.
Yeah. The other thing that's making me wish for the way that North Central Mass is doing. It's straight to DNS. Then you could have payments done within 3 days of offer acceptance with an inspection term, with the inspection term. And we got to sign PNS.
Yeah.
The attorneys are right. The attorneys are.
I gotta have my addendum A in it. if that's my
Addendum A,
client.
and, oh, no, I have to review your addendum A and add addendum B. You know, that's what I see going on. Yeah. Right. Okay.
And whatever you guys are putting, and this is probably another Jess question, but whatever you guys are putting on the offer to purchases, you know, as far as repairs or anything, that's usually because CFPB is really stressing that attorneys include everything on the offer. If that's part of the presentation. So
No,
it's not that that's
no addendum.
phantom addendum page that gets slipped under the back. I'm just saying, you know, that's what the CFPB is going to look at. So you want to be careful on what you
When you include repairs and the money back for repairs, and the underwriters get it, and the underwriter says, "Oh, the house is broke. We can't fall on this." Be careful how to handle that.
Right.
It's way better to just not mention it, just change the price.
Right.
Change the price because we felt like it.
There you go. There you go. That's a great idea. Here's the other thing you remember about that. If those repairs are included in there, appraisal is going to happen because we need that to get it underwritten. So you also, now you set yourself up for a final inspection after the repairs are done. So now the appraiser has to go back out. The appraiser goes back out and then has to go back and underwrite. So you could lose a few days. So keep in mind, if you put the repairs on there, you want to make sure that they get done as fast as possible. Ideally, before the first appraisal.
The client say, "When should we get this done?" The answer should always be yes. Stress it before. Let's get everything done as soon as you possible.
Yeah, because that's another goal to do. Repairs not getting done. Appraiser gets it done as fast as they can. 1 or 2 days, not a big deal, but it's still, you know, then the CD and everything else has to follow. Hopefully, have a fair closing final inspection. You know, but you want that. So those are the big things that we're seeing right now. It'll keep changing. Happy to hear that you guys aren't finding a lot of issues. I know that I'm hearing that there are.
Well, I haven't actually got the deals in the process, but I haven't closed one yet, so I don't know.
Who's closing treatments?
I haven't seen it.
Really?
I have a list here, like afterwards.
If they are, I haven't heard anything bad about it.
I put the process, you know, from like the beginning to the end is how I think it should go and what happens. So I want to look at it.
Sure.
If there's something to change. Because I give that to the customer also and let them know that this step is the process and this way it goes. So they know what's going on next.
Sure.
Because you just assume, you know, they know they need to get insurance from or whatever it might be.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Never with that one. So, yeah.
Sure. What other questions do you have?
Any other trick questions before we move on?
We had a trip form that we were supposed to.
It's pretty much
Oh,
gone.
disclosure, yeah, that's tough.
That was kind of like the fear of, okay, this change is upon us. Make sure everybody knows how bad it's going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Everybody's just kind of.
it actually got way softer than what they first told us it was going to be.
Yeah.
They would, I mean, when I first listened, I said, "So you mean we're going to do a final walkthrough 3 days before closing? We're going to do a final walkthrough day out?" Oh, and they said, "Yeah, that's the only way you can do it because if you change anything with a hole in the wall, they're going to reset the clocks." Stupid shit, and I just thought it was crazy.
Yeah.
That's why. Boston was.
Yeah, it was Boston.
Yeah.
It was so,
Oh, attorneys are gonna be gone in the state. This is the first step towards moving towards the title state.
well, they're not as,
Maybe.
they're not as involved with this
Right.
settle, the CD now, that's the big thing.
Standardized PNS is the next step.
What is it, more than half the states in the country are title states.
Yeah, it's fill in the blanks. Right. I mean, my bank owns, they go straight to the PNS and it's fill in the blanks. It's the same number of blanks that are on the offer form. I fill in the blanks and send them to the PNS and you sign it.
There's one section for additional comments, so additional agreements. Yeah. We don't want that to be complicated, that's one sentence, clear, English.
It's funny because if you ever read some attorneys' opinions, it's like, you didn't read the PNS because everything that's in the addendum in the PNS already. It's just you don't feel like reading it through line by line, so this is the PNS approved to attach to every PNS.
It's almost like an offer to purchase. You get an offer, and it's got a big section for home inspection, and then underneath the special conditions, sale subject to satisfactory home inspection. No kidding, so it's got a friggin' paragraph this big, and you write it in there.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Bill.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, we got our holiday party for games here. You guys gonna come? Really lunch.
Yeah.
Great food, you got a bottle of wine.
Yeah, but wine.
No brainer.
We got some great giveaways.
Yeah.
Some fun giveaways too. So
That was a fun part.
yeah, we got some good stuff out there. I'll leave these up there.
All right, cool.
Yeah, and I'll put, if you want, I can share it on the.
Okay, yeah, share on that Facebook.
I'll do that. Good luck with your business plan.
All right.
That's good stuff.
All the important people aren't here. We're here, so we know we're working on our business.
All right.
Is this being broadcast?
Yes, it is.
Dummies! Want to make sure they're here.
Do you want to email it?
Really need to be here.
What's that?
Yeah.
Email me the copies or not?
Right.
I'll go over with my processor and see if.
Yeah.
Can I take a look at that?
Yeah, definitely.
Just take one and pass it down.
And just give the.
Oh,
No, they're.
It's all part of
You already
it.
did the A. What's that? You already did the A. E to Z.
No, easy.
You know what,
Just
just
two
I
different
don't
ones.
use it.
Easy, like I'm lazy, I'm not gonna do anything other than the easy, and then there's the bigger version. So kind of like, do something, even if you're not gonna do the full one, do the easy business.
Cool. All right. Good luck.
All right.
See you guys.
Let's talk about business plans. Every year this time of year, I highly stress having a business plan for your next year. I always tell agents, share it with me. I'd love to see it so I can occasionally throughout the year say, how's it going on that business plan? Make suggestions, questions, and ask the questions. I probably get less than 5%. And my guess is less than 10% actually, definitely less than 10% actually have a written business plan for the next year. I think it's the first thing you need to do. You really need to know what your goals are, how that breaks down, that you can know as you're going from month to month, are you on track, are you off track, are you rewrite it in February because it's not working. You got to start somewhere. So there's two different types in here, and I'll send this to everybody today as well. There's an easy business plan, which is the first page, and then there's a full-blown version that's 12 pages long that walks you through a more in-depth business plan. There's some people that, whether it's attention deficit disorder or what it is, they don't have the attention span to do the full one, and okay, then just do the easy business plan. The easy business plan is what's my goal of gross income, and this is, I think if you're really trying to make a full-time income in this, the easy business plan isn't enough. If you're a part-timer and you're just kind of looking to make a little bit of money in the business, or you have high goals for yourself in the coming year, then the easy business plan can work fine, because you can sort of figure out, okay, based on my income goal, if I want to make $50,000 a year, and I'm working in the $200,000 average price range area, it's roughly $5,000 of commission.
got 10 deals I want to do. How many buyers, how many listings, and where will my sources be, and what problems I need to solve to improve, get to where I want to be. So that's a very simplistic business plan. I think what we'll do is we'll have a workshop in the next couple of weeks where you can come in with what you've done so far, and we can kind of really shake it out from there. The second business plan that we have is a full-blown version. It walks it through gross, based on your split, what your net will be. It walks you through an expense budget, which if you walk down through it, kind of work out what your expenses will be. That's on, let's see what page is that on. That's on the last page. Expenses, what am I spending? Exit annual dues, MLS fees, realtor dues, promotional materials, business cards, marketing, memberships, gas, internet, cell phone, etc. So you may want a spreadsheet for that, just kind of keep track of that stuff if you don't use like QuickBooks or anything like that. But you want to keep track of all your expenses. You want to know what you're spending on a month basis. And I'm also going to send you one here that's even more blown out that someone stole for me. It's 80 pages long, and it's in the, if you buy the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, you can get it. It's through the Keller Williams University, but it's in the book also on how to do this. But I mean, this is completely blowing it to the next level as far as business planning goes. My opinion on it is it's scary. If I saw this and I went through this class when I was first in the business, I would say this is not the business for me. Because if you start to look at it, it's basically saying, in rough numbers, that your cost of sales are going to be 29%. That's your expenses. That's your marketing. That's your lead generation, and your operating expenses. Your cost of sales are your split, your other fees related to the company, and your operating expenses are your gas, your everything else. So both those combined are 60%. So it's basically got a.
But bringing $100,000, I'm only taking $100,000.
This is, if you scroll down here, it's got a section, an easy chart. So if you want to net 100,000, you have to gross commission income 240,000. If I saw that when I first got into business, I'd say, you know what, construction management is still the best for me. I think it's blown out of proportion. I think it's blown out of proportion because it's geared towards scaring agents into thinking you got to do massive production if you want to make it. And, between us exit people, this is in a public webinar here. I think that's the way their mentality is. It's like you gotta blow up your business. There's no other choice but blowing up your business. And you got to create a team, and you got to have listing special, and they want everybody to be team. Grow your team, etc. That's not for everybody. I think there's a place in this business where you can, do 150,000 gross and make 100,000 in this business, or maybe even less, depending on how you manage your business. I look at it like when you're putting your business plan together, you always should focus on the listings first. Where am I going to get my listings? If I want to do 100,000, 150,000 gross commission earnings, and my average sale is 5,000 gross commission, and that's 30 sales. So where are my 30 sales going to come from? If you said, I'm going to run around, I'm going to sell 30 buyers homes this year, I think you're going to get to the end of the year and you're going to be like, this business sucks. It's just this. I know an agent that did it. He came into the business from a tech world and said, I've got a budget and tell me where to spend it, where I can make money. I like working with buyers, and he did all online lead generation for buyers. It was Google advertising, Facebook advertising, driving to his website, getting the leads, calling them up, getting them out, showing houses. We closed 25 buyer sites the first year. He said, I think I put 70,000 miles in my car in 1 year. So to me, that's no way to build a long-term business. Besides, you're not advertising. You're not getting the effects of advertising out there in the world with your name and face on them. You're getting buyers or closing, but it's not really helping you in the future.
your side.
Right, you're not becoming an expert at listing, so even your clients you work with, they may refer you to buyers where they're going to be confident saying, oh, you're looking to sell your house? Well, I know Tony does a lot of sales on listings, so if he can help you out. They might be like, oh, well, he helped us buy a home. I don't know if he sells houses. You can get pigeonholed into one kind of side of the business. And any listing agent will tell you, when you list a property at the right price and it sells quickly, it's the best place in the business. Get the listing, you list it, all these other agents find it out.
Listers last. Look at me, I'm
List
more of a
last.
listing agent, I don't even work, I just list houses and sell them.
Right. You don't have to drive around. You realize that when you start to work with buyers and a hot new listing comes out and you make a bid on it and your buyer doesn't get it, some other buyer doesn't get it, you don't get paid on that. But that listing agent just listed, he's like, all right, got 3 offers, my listing sold, which one are we taking, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? My job is done. And then on the listing side, from the sales perspective, it goes under agreement. What are you really doing? You're occasionally saying, hey, are you guys on track with the mortgage? And hey,
It's a treat to have.
right? You're not spending 4 hours at an inspection. So it's always think about your listings first. And even if you don't have listings now, if you put in your business plan how many listings you want to get, you start your every week with thinking about where am I going to be trying to find listings this week. And you may not have all the answers yet, but at least if you're always thinking about it, okay, maybe I should be trying some expired, maybe I should be trying some FSBOs, maybe I need to, and we'll do some kind of more prospecting discussions and techniques, but on seller prospecting.
I don't know the cost, trying to figure out how much a house is worth. To be able to list it.
Yeah, that's coming up on the Saturday session.
Is it?
Yeah. So you want to go after listings, and some of it could be, some of the things I think are going to be hot this coming year are finding houses that people have lived in for 5, 10 years that are small and on the smaller side. They might be looking to upgrade. Homes that have been owned more than 15, 20 years that are over 2,000 square feet. You don't just have to go after listing expired and for sale by owners. There's other ways to go out there and try to find sellers, builders, building one-offs, investors that are flipping properties. We can talk about. There's a long laundry list of potential ways to find sellers. Putting ads on Facebook for home valuation, for home value, home postcards, just general door knocking, neighborhoods. Those are kind of it's much easier to find a buyer online than it is to find a seller online, because sellers typically don't go online looking for an agent. But definitely want to focus on the listings, because a good listing is going to get spin-off business as well. And one of the things you want to think about is in your business is, okay, how many listings do I want to take to how many buyers I want to sell? To me, it should be double the listings over the buyers. So if you're trying to close 30 deals, you should want to close 20 listings, 10 buyers. What will happen is you may find that you close more buyers than those 10 from getting those 20 listings. That's good. You're going to close more than you anticipated. But if you focus on those 20 listings, you got to take probably starting in January 2 to 3 months. So you're setting your goals on, okay, I got to start working on finding those listings, or lining up a bunch of them for the spring, and really focusing on that prospecting activity. So I think sometimes agents just kind of get into a rhythm of, well, it's easier to find buyers, so I'm just going to work with buyers. That's okay. If you're growing your business, do some open houses and drive the buyers directly, but still focus some time every week on going after listings, finding listings, tracking them down, trying to get them so that you can get those listings and get those sold, but also those are a great generator of your own buyer leads, whether it be open houses, Facebook ads, etc. One of the things I also want you to consider is what your cost of getting that business is. Sometimes you'll get business by referral, by free Facebook advertising, referrals this way, and you may want to look at that and say, if I'm going to close 30 deals in 2016, how many referrals can I really get here? My opinion, maybe 5, maybe 4.
Unless you're an old time.
Right. If you're years and years on the business, but at that point, you know how much you got in the last year, so you can kind of say, okay, if I stay on track with my referrals, I'll get this many. Personally, I always treat that as kind of, unless I know they're in the pipeline and the people that I've talked to already, they're going to do something in 2016, I'm not really counting them, because you never know if it's going to happen. You know, you can't just say 2016, I'm going to get 10 referrals just because and not know any of those people are referring. You're better off driving your business and saying, I'm going to drive my business to 30 sales and end up with 40 because I got 10 referrals, than to just hope and pray that you get those referrals next year. So if you take out the referrals, let's say, okay, you've been in the business a year or two, or well, for you, I would say maybe only count a couple referrals, maybe throughout the year. So if you're going for 30, then 28 you've got to acquire somehow. How do you acquire them? You acquire them, depending on how you acquire them, there's a cost involved. Acquiring them by brute force and door knocking, you can get your cost down pretty low.
Yeah, well, it's cheap dollar-wise, but high hour-wise.
Hour-wise. So if you've got the time, you can do that. So you want to decide how much budget do I have to spend. And maybe it's a scaling budget throughout the year. Say I'm kind of thin January, February, so maybe it's only $200 or $300 a month in January or February for mailings, for Facebook ads, for Realtor.com or any of those other things you can do. But then maybe it scales and spring it's $500 or $700. I would look at it like every piece of business that you need to buy versus going out and hardcore finding it with your own feet in your mouth are going to cost you $400 to $600 at close. I've run a lot of numbers, and even if I think if you're spending enough on Zillow or Realtor.com or Trulia and you go a whole year with it at least, you're probably going to see a cost of about $400 to $600 a closing.
Is Trulia and Zillow, have they merged?
They have, but they're still separate websites, which I don't quite understand.
What'd you get?
Yeah, we're exploring. I've got looking at Realtor.com and trying to find out what they're doing because I'm hearing some mixed reviews.
You know, Realtor.com has supposedly tweaked their process so that they've always been number one, and then Zillow or Trulia kind of took over, and now they're like, oh my God, we got to get going on this.
One of the things I would do, and I started doing it yesterday, is just you're kind of wondering what you're doing. Just go on and pretend you're a consumer. What I noticed when I went on Realtor.com yesterday is they kind of started to adopt the Zillow and Trulia format, or the format that we use like with our own website, which is you can only search so long for free before you have to put up your name and number. And it seemed I fooled around for a little bit on Realtor.com and I got a pop-up box. I looked, just like Zillow and Trulia, you can go to a listing and request information. That's what I was kind of expecting, and then all of a sudden I had a pop-up box come up and requested that I put my own information. Right. It's a proven technique for getting people's information. So we're gonna, with Jeannie's help, start doing some more research on these things to bring you guys some information on what they're offering, what's available in the area, what we think will work. And I think the formula is always basically 3 things: how much you're spending, what area you're in, and how that results in how many leads you're going to get per month. For instance, you can spend $300 in Shrewsbury and get 2 leads a month. You could spend $300 in Auburn and get 10 leads a month. My opinion is the more leads, the better, because you have a higher % chance that one of those leads are going to develop something. I think at the end of the day, they're all going to cost you $400 to $600, $700 per closed buyer lead. But I've had agents tell me, well, I'm spending $200 a month on Trulia, I'm getting like 4 leads a month, and I spend 4 months, I haven't got it. So, but if you look at it from a year perspective, it might take a year worth of leads to get enough leads so that the percentages work out that you're going to get couple pieces of business that work. So you've got to have enough leads coming in. I think if you're going to spend any money on anything, they should be getting you at least 10 leads a month. Because then you have a chance of actually closing something before you get frustrated with it. If you're only getting a few leads a month, then your leads that actually convert could be the ones in the 11th month on it. You know what I mean? You got to have enough leads coming in that the percentages work. Because I don't care what it is, any lead, you're lucky 3 to 7% you're going to get on a conversion rate. It's probably the typical. So if you're spending $50 a lead, it's going to take you 10 minutes to get a book. Spending on Facebook, you do a Facebook advertising, might only be down to $3 to $10. So probably going to end up being the same amount of money, but you're going to feel better about it because you're getting more leads. So it's depending on your patience level, your proactivity level. That's why some agents I'll recommend they just do Zillow or Trulia versus doing a Facebook advertising, Google advertising. Because Google or Facebook, you're getting them at the very early end of the search process. So they're a longer incubation. Zillow or Trulia, you're getting those leads. There's someone who requested information on a property. They've probably been fooling around on Zillow or Trulia for months and months and months. So they're going to cost you more per lead, but they're going to be closer to well, they're going to be closer to their buy period. Right? So it depends on, are you a patient person and you can work these leads for a long period of time, or are you kind of an instant gratification person that's just like, I want this lead to be ready to buy right now. You know?
The ones that
Me, the latter.
the ones that require the incubation, they call it touches. You have to check in with them every month or every couple of weeks or whatever. And the problem is that I don't know if they've actually got studies, but most people will try, and they'll say, screw it. Well, that next 1 or 2 tries to reach out to them was probably the time they were going to be ready. So that's why when you have drip campaigns that are automatically emailed out, those if you're going to pay for leads, you really ought to have a system to stay in touch with them. The better the system and the more frequent touches, the better conversion rate you'll have. If you talk to them once or twice and they say, oh, I'm not ready to go looking yet, oh, screw them. You're done. I pull the plug, and then all of a sudden they go buy a house the next weekend.
Yep. So, all right. So think about that. And so, for instance, if you're trying to do 30 deals in a year and you don't expect any referrals, then you're going to have to plan to spend 12 to 15 grand in advertising to get that done. The nice part about it, if you're taking listings, is if you say, okay, for even every listing I take, I'm spending 10%. I always recommend 10%. Use 10%. I've talked to a lot of agents. Mark uses the same kind of formula. Usually 5 to 10% is what I'm spending on a listing to advertise it. You're getting twofold with that advertising. You're sufficing the seller that you're advertising and doing the job for them, and why you're getting paid such a high percentage at 6%. But you're also investing in, we all know what advertising our listings does. It doesn't typically sell that listing. But if you're doing the right advertising, you're actually investing in the growth of your own business by sufficing the seller that you're marketing the property, because you're putting it out there on Facebook by boosts. You might be, advertising it on anywhere else. You can doing listings. You're pushing it out there on the internet. You're advertising more so to develop more business for yourself. The 100 postcards to the 100 closest homes, just listed. Those aren't to sell that listing. It's to make the seller happy, but it's got a bigger impact on you getting more listings. So think about that in the budget. It might scare you because you say, okay, I want to do 30 deals this year, and I don't have $1,500 a month right now to spend on marketing. Well, then you've got to figure out, okay, the first 3 months of the year, I'm going to have to do it by brute force. And I'm going to have to be getting out there in the winter with my coat on and going and knocking on some doors, or spending some time on the phone in the office and doing some phone prospecting to try to find some of that business.
Or going out for breakfast or dinner at a busy local place. Just get to your face in the conversation.
Exactly.
Networking groups, I mean, the chambers aren't real, they call them networking breakfast, for breakfast, but you go and you tag it out to certain people.
Well, I run my shirts for jacket this piece all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a great.
there's been a lot of times that people just say, oh, you can do this thing. Just market basket. Going through the line, the girl says, oh, you can do this too.
You always have a business card on you?
Absolutely.
How much?
Yeah.
You should always have 2 or 3.
Yeah. So not only for
There's
them,
one for you to hold on to forever, as you just pass over. If you no like trust.
Yeah.
So, yes, just, so that's kind of a way to start thinking about your business plan as you're putting it together over the next couple of weeks. It's just kind of, all right, as easy round numbers, if you said, okay, my split is 30%, my marketing is 10%, and another 10% for operating expenses, it's probably going to be pretty close, 50%. You're looking at, of course, you got to figure in if you get to the 100% over that, it's going to be 90%, then scale that differently. But if you're looking to make 50,000 net, you got to do 90 to 100,000.
I'm not afraid to spend the money on advertising. I don't mind that, but I just want to make sure that I do it. I don't want to just like, oh, here's $400 because that's what I just want to make sure it's going to the right whatever, whether it's Trulia or whatever the hell it's called,
Yeah.
Realtor.com or
Realtor.com?
Realtor.
Well, we're gonna try to spend some time with Jeannie's help this month, just trying to break down all these things and seeing where if I can make some suggestions on where the best modes of
Like
advertising.
my signs I buy, you know what I mean? I don't mind spending it as long as I know it's going to be for real and not just
Don't use the Telegram.
Right, don't use the Telegram and Gazette. If you're doing Zillow, Trulia, Real.com, you're basically buying buyer business. You're still not buying listing business.
right.
They'll tell you what they can.
It's still not. And that's why, like, we had a conversation in our Westwood meeting yesterday. Why is it all these top producing, nasty, not nice people that get all the business? It's because they know that Matteo or you can't just start going money spending online and taking away their market share. They've got the listing signs and the lawns. They're doing the postcard mailers and that. That's why I always, if you're going to go out to listings, I really think you should be focused narrow. Whether it's 1 or 2 towns, pick an area, and say, this is where I'm going to listing prospect. Because I've even had agents say, oh, I think I've got some formulas to run some Facebook ads for home value leads. And okay, so let's say that does work and it costs you $700 to buy a listing and you can make that work. You're going to get one listing in Dudley, you're going to get one listing in Holden, you're going to get one listing in Worcester, you're going to get one listing in Shrewsbury. When you're done selling those, you think anybody in those areas are going to know your name?
No.
They're not. You got to
So the guy
focus.
that lives next door and sees it every day.
Right.
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 So
You got to be
want to focus in your area, so when people are driving around, they see something.
right, and then they get your postcard.
You want
and
to
then
become the expert in your town. If that's the town you live in or the town you wish to be the number one. But you want to be the expert in that town and focus on everything. So you want to know where every coffee shop is and every little lunch place. And you want to go in and frequent the restaurants. And you want to become involved with that town. And you want to be that town's realtor over time. And to be that, you have to be present. You have to be involved. And the more people that you talk to and know in that area, it grows. You pop up one sign, people notice it. You pop up a sign on this street, one on that street, one on that street, people say, oh, no, that's pretty good. You haven't sold shit, but
you got to
signs
put some of
up.
those corner for sale signs up that end up disappearing, and you're like, man, I keep spending $10 to replace them.
As
But
long as your name's
it's
on
okay.
it, that's okay.
I mean, if you took a listing and you read to replace 5 for sale signs at $10 a piece, it's $50 over the course of a listing. It's a no-brainer. They throw it. It's look at it as most agents look at it as lost money, but think about all the times you drive by one of those little arrow signs and it says for sale. I get them customized to you. I see most agents put them up and they're just like exit realty this direction. That's fine, but
Tracy likes that.
it's not. It's growing the
sign all
exit
over.
name. It's not growing your name. Right. So and there's this company that'll do the just listed, just sold postcards automatically for your listings. I got a listing. They'll do
100 closest homes just listed, when it sells, or if it just sold for 60 to 80 cents per 100. Like, that's part of your budget. If you're $5,000 commission sale and you're spending $500, make
Right.
sure that, you know, $80 on the front side, $80 on the back side, that's $160. Some Facebook advertising, you know, focused just in that town or within a 50-mile radius of that town. So if
I
there's
should do Lincoln, South Reservoir, I just sold.
if they're seeing your name and face on the sign, then hopefully they start to see your name and face on the Facebook ads. I mean, most towns have an agent who kind of dominates that town. Most agents don't think there's anybody that's going to come and take it away from them. And most of the time, there is an agent that'll focus the time and energy that it takes to take it away from them. But once you've taken it away from them, it's going to be hard.
I mean, we know there's and Joanne, and they're both not.
Not nice.
No.
Yeah.
That
To me, I think the town is wide
The
open.
dominating people that they're just not nice, but they still get all the business.
Well,
because of the name brand recognition.
Because they've been around so long,
I mean, Joanne was actually the town manager for a while, I think, or something like
But you
that.
want,
and no matter how,
you want to jump, because you're like,
but most people just say, well, they get results. So even though they're a pain in the ass, they're going to get the job done. So
They
that's
listed
why
this one, they sold it. They listed that one, they sold it. I keep hearing he's a jerk, but he listed it and sold it. Oh, somebody else told me he's a jerk. Oh, he listed it and sold it. I'm still gonna list and sell it.
Conrad, and others.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, if you can go after those areas and be nice and still do the job, you've got.
That's
That's the way I
Be
feel like it
nice.
should happen. I was like,
But again, they don't think
there
that
for the taking.
they don't feel like they have to be nice because they don't think anybody's gonna come steal it away from them because they know they have market share.
And don't be afraid of, because I wasn't number one in Auburn when I first started. I became number one in Auburn, not anymore, but I became the top agent in Auburn. I held that title for years. People came slowly but surely and picked a little piece. So that's what you want to do, is you want to just put a little market share away. And every year, you want to put a little bit more. But focusing on one area is the most important thing, because once you're the one in that area, it's easy to maintain.
Right.
And once you're the one, and then
It's
all of a
easier
sudden
to
your
grow.
circle grows to like on the fringes of Dudley. Now you're at the left, the Southbridge, and Oxford. Oh, okay. Now
Right.
So how many households are in? Like you can do it like personally, my goal if I was trying to focus on being a town person is I would look at how many households are in the town. And if you Google every door directmail.com, you can look up by zip code and see how many households are in that town. The goal would be to be able to be in the mailbox of every person in every household in town every month. If you are, you can't tell me that over time you're not going to dominate that area. Absolutely.
so you're saying.
that would be the way.
That's what like
around.
Vince
What's
Arcuri,
it called?
everydoordirectmail.com.
You provide the pieces that says their occupant or whatever, and basically you bring it to the post office. The post office runs it. Then you deliver the pieces to them, and then they just, well, there's 15,000, give us 15,000, and we're gonna deliver them to every house in town on this day.
Every door, not.
Every door direct.
It ends up costing you for a nice size. You could probably scale it down to smaller postcard, but a nice size postcard, probably about 22 cents a piece to get every household. So what a lot of agents will do is they'll align themselves with a lender or an attorney, and they'll go through like a designer or like Fiverr.com, which you can get stuff done cheap on, and say I need a postcard. Someone design a postcard, and it's pretty much the same template every month. You might have a couple featured listings, market stats on the town, your advertisers on the back. So if let's say you pick a town, it's 10,000 homes. You know, the idea is to get to that 10,000. You may not be able to start 10,000 right away, but that's going to cost you about $2,200 to do 10,000 homes. So if you can get an advertiser for 500, another advertiser for 500, down to 1,200. That's the kind of concept that big farm marketers will do that are listing focused, like Vince Arcuri. He's like, I don't
So
work.
an advertiser, meaning like a lender and a
Yeah,
lawyer.
so you get them to help
home
cover the
inspector,
cost
home
of these
inspector.
postcards.
Right.
You tell them, the front's mine, the back's yours. Let's do this. We'll dominate the town. So you may not be able to start at the whole town, but you may be able to start at part of the town. You know, you can go on everydoordirect.com. You can actually look at a map of the town, and you can pick the little routes, and it'll ghost out on the map where those routes are, and you say, okay, I like that route. I like that
I like the
route.
neighborhood. Tony the mailman's gonna deliver my
You know,
stuff.
Right.
that area is lower end houses, or maybe you stay away from the really high end because you know that's going to be harder to break into in the beginning. So you focus on the lower end, and so you maybe start at 2,000, 3,000. It's going to cost you $500-700 to start to get into those homes. And you know, the way I would approach it is if you start from zero, is try to get a couple listings at the town you want to focus on, and when you have that, start your mail campaign. Start doing 1,000, 2,000 homes that are in that same area, and put them on your just list. Make sure your face is on it and your name in bold writing, so that they start to think, Tony, 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 every month, Tony, listing, Tony, just sold, Tony.
Right.
So that's how you build name, mind recognition. For a guy like Vince Arturi, you know, probably on average close to 100 deals a year, he's spending $5,000 to $7,000 a month on marketing. So
Yeah.
he's
you get to the
he's the
point.
kind of guy that's got a great personality, but someone that doesn't have a great personality, if they're doing that, they're looking at it and saying, "This can take you a while, Tony, to ever break in on how much business I'm doing." Because I'm spending $5,000 a month and I'm closing 100 deals, and you're not able to do that yet. So I'm winning until you can grow that to the point where you're matching me, taking business away from me. That's the nutshell of
I got a pizza parlor that will go, every time you deliver the pizza, they'll put my stuff on it.
That's cool.
I keep my magnets.
That's definitely one part of it.
Right.
To do. And if anybody came in the business and had enough money, you could grow your business quickly. It's just not, that's most people that come to business don't have 100 grand sitting in the bank saying, okay, I can spend $15,000 in my first year and I'm only going to make, 30 grand, but then I want to keep spending it. Next year I'm going to be at 60, and then next year I'm at 120 plus. It takes some time. You can't start to measure it for at least 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
You got to just keep doing it, knowing that I'm getting impressions. You've got to think of it from a buyer's perspective. Someone living at a house. Why is this Tony sending me? I don't care. Next month, it's friggin' Tony guy again. Friggin' Tony guy again. Tony guy again. What is this Tony guy doing?
Right.
You know, just think of it like that perspective. That's what you're gonna. Each household you get into, it's not an instant gratification thing. It's over time. That's why so many agents make the mistake of,
Well, discovery. I mean, my God, I must get 20K for discovery price. Right?
Do you guys get mailers from agents at your houses?
No.
Nope.
Usually
Randomly?
Years ago.
Randomly?
The only ones I've gotten were asking me to come join their, like that law or whatever it is,
Okay.
something new. They actually called me
Oh, yeah.
on my cell phone. I didn't know.
So you know what's funny is those are all slide dials. You know what slide dial is? It delivers a voicemail to your phone without them actually ringing the phone, and it's an automated voicemail. So you notice they won't say your name in that voicemail. It'll just say, "Hey, I've been watching your
This is a
production."
person that just called me. Like,
Did you pick it up and you talked to her?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because they've
called
been
my cell
doing a
phone.
lot of
Sherry?
I don't even know.
Yeah, Sherry, but also Stacy Alcorn, a couple of years, I think I called directly from Stacy Alcorn, like, use the voicemail. I said, yeah, it was voicemail. I'm like, did your phone ring? I said, no.
Right.
It's a slide dial. It's, hey, I've been watching your production. I'd love to have lunch with you next week.
Right.
They don't say your name in it because it's an automated voicemail.
Yeah. Just going down a list dialing.
No, you feed the 1,000 phone numbers to it, and it'll call them automatically.
Right.
It's not them calling at all.
No, that's what I'm saying, it's going down.
It's
a list of
automatically
numbers and just
sending
calling.
voicemails to some people's cell phones.
Yeah.
Doing all that. Yeah, so think of your area. I also think it's a way. It's like a lot of agents do just listed, just sold postcards for every listing they take. And most of them do it because they can say to their seller, I just sent postcards out, but they don't think about it from their own perspective. Because I think it's stupid to take, let's say you take one listing in Auburn and you decide to do that. I think you're either better off not doing it, or if you do it, then you have to keep it on this.
Right.
You're not going to get
Keep
that.
concentrated in there.
Right.
So the same people are seeing it.
Right. If you have to do it because the seller wants you to do it. But at that point, you're kind of looking at it like, if I'm just mailing just listed to the 100 closest homes, just sold to the same group when it sells, I'm probably throwing that money out the window. You're not going to typically. What?
The one that sends out the 100.
I will find the name of it and put it out on the Facebook group. But they'll actually, if you give them your MLS ID, they'll track your just listed and just sold, and they'll just basically say your just listed postcard is going to go out. Just want to make sure you want to send it. Your just sold postcard is going to go out. Whereas so you don't have to remember to do it.
Yeah.
I think I only think it's worth doing it if you're going to also include those people in follow-up mailers. Because otherwise, you're hoping that someone in those 100 closest homes is just getting ready to list their property, and you may or on occasion get another listing that way, but it's probably going to be pretty rare.
Yeah.
Because you got to hit them at the right time frame. Otherwise, if they're not thinking we're thinking about listing, then your just listed postcard is going to the trash. Same thing when you just sold. If they're not thinking right now, that's why if you're.
Do you find that whenever a house goes for sale though, that like within 2 or 3 neighbors that they're like, if they're selling their house, I'm gonna put mine up.
It can happen.
I've
never heard of agents getting a lot of traction with just listed, just sold. Not like getting.
No, I don't think it's never with the same agent.
Right.
It seems, but it's just like somebody goes, they see their house, and they're like, oh, they're gonna get like, $250 for their house, then
Right.
We should put ours up for sale.
It can happen.
Right.
Yeah.
It just seems that I've seen it happen.
Which is another reason I think it's good to focus on getting listings wherever you want to farm. Because if you're focused on farming a town and you get that listing in there, you're doing just listing and just sold to the 100 closest homes, that's more effective because you're also mailing to them other times of the year. If you're not on an every month basis yet, try to say, okay, I'm going to do 6,000 homes 4 times a year instead of doing it every month. And say, over time I'll work it up to once a month. But for now, I'm going to start it. I'm going to do February. I'm going to do September, whatever, December. Maybe it's 3 times a year to your 6,000 homes. So then hopefully you're taking listings in let's say you're taking 4 or 5 listings, and so you're sending out the just listed, just solds to those 4 or 5 listings, then you're broadcasting the whole town 3 or 4 times a year. Also, you're having more effect because those 100 closest homes that you sent to, now they're, instead of just getting the 3 pieces, they're getting 5 pieces throughout the year. So you're not wasting money by sending out your just listed, just solds to 6,000 homes. You're sending it out to 100 closest homes, but you're also hitting all those homes a few times a year. So a few times a year, 6,000 homes. It's going to cost you roughly, $1,200 to $1,500 for each piece. You can cover probably 1,000 of it from advertising. So cover advertising fees, and then it's not a huge commitment for your lender or attorney. It's 3 times a year. Give me $400 or $500 for an ad. Or if you want to break it down to less, you could have 4 or 5 ads on the back. It could be a pizza shop that you're working closely with. And again, that's all community advocate stuff. You're going to that person and say, hey, you want to advertise with me? We'll get you in there, and now the owner of the pizza shop, the owner of the salon. Maybe you throw a free ad for them in there every once in a while. You will. You're helping them, they help you. So again, you're focusing in an area. You just can't
can't grow a long-term business that's sustainable and repeatable with being everything to everybody everywhere. You're never going to be that agent that can choose to be nasty if they want to be. But so I would definitely focus on that stuff. And the other thing is, get involved in all the community pages that are on Facebook in that town and post and get, get your name out there. Those.
I tried that, like, Facebook has a Boylston town, and you have to apply to it, and it's owned by one of the three people, really.
Yeah.
And like, so I tried to, of course, get in there and no response, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won't because they don't want you on there.
Right, exactly.
They've already got so much, but you could already start your own.
Right. Actually, one of the things I want to do a class on before the end of the year is just started experimenting with this. Westford, I've got a best of Westford Facebook community page. So you can start a best of whatever your town is. And the idea behind it is you're the publisher. You're the admin.
You're gonna let them, another realtor apply?
I don't know, probably not. I'm the owner of it. I can do what I want. That's why those agents did that.
Right.
Yeah.
But the idea behind it, it's a great way to get out in the community and let's see. So this is one of our agents. Because I created it for the office, I made the agents that want to work on it the admins on the page. So it's published by Paula Poirier. So if you created the page, you're the publisher. So you can go out to businesses or contact, handymen or that work in that town that you're focusing on. Best of Dudley, best of Webster Lake, it could be.
Right.
So you're going to go out and talk to businesses and say, I'd like to highlight you on my best of Westford page. Maybe it's you take a little video of them at their place. Maybe it's a picture of them at their business. Say, they're offering a discount. This is what they do. This is what they specialize in. So now you're giving before you're getting. So you're giving value to them and saying, I want to help you grow your business. Hopefully you'll be willing to help me grow mine and share share who I am on your business page and your personal page, and I'll share who you are and what you do on my personal page. So sometimes you may not have all the connections you want in that town, but someone else may. So you're giving and receiving. So I think this is it's a powerful potential way to go out there and build a farm area for very low cost. It's just time involved.
Yep.
But it's also a reason to, if you're not going door knocking residential listings, you're going out and meeting business owners, saying, I just wanted to stop in and say hi. I'm Tony from Realty and focus on real estate. I run the best of, Dudley page. I want to highlight you on there. If you like the page, and recommend that your friends like the page. I mean, just in this one only has 30 likes so far, but Shrewsbury, I think we've got Andrew started even remotely smallly working on the page. I think we've got a few hundred likes pretty quickly. So 377 likes, we've only put a few hours of work into that. So what she did was she was connected to a lot of people in Shrewsbury, so she put it out there. Hey, like our best of Shrewsbury page, we're going to highlight local people and local businesses that are doing things in town.
Everybody will jump on it because they're like, hey, well, like it's free for me.
It's one thing to self-endorse yourself. It's a whole other level if someone else endorses you. So you're endorsing them, and they're endorsing you. It's more powerful.
Almost like a LinkedIn.
Right. So I would highly recommend you start a best of page for whatever town you want to work in.
I better hurry up before money.
It could be even a condo complex. If you want to own a condo complex, you can make it for a condo complex.
Right.
You can do anything you want. So there. Anything else anybody have thoughts on? So start to put together your business plan. Share it with me. Be happy to help you with it. It's kind of, as you can see, there's a lot of different ways you can market. You just got to you gotta put it on paper, you gotta create a plan. This is what my plan is for 2016. Number of listings, this is the number of buyers, this is where I think they're gonna come from. These ones are gonna cost me nothing, these ones are gonna cost me this much, this is gonna cost me this much.
Right.
This is where I'm gonna advertise to get those buyers, and start to figure it out so that you have a plan of action in place for.
That's like, I think that's what hoops, set your hopes, your objective, what action you have to take to create that objective, how much time you're gonna have to spend on the action to create it.
Right.
And then schedule it.
Right.
Yes.
When I was trying to fight through the down market, I was lucky enough to be doing some coaching with Tammy Brunel, and we would always focus on 6-week action plans.
Right.
You can only really look and focus on 6 weeks ahead. You can't say, okay, well,
This is actually supposed to be a weekly, like every Friday you're supposed to.
right. I mean, you look at your 6-week action plan every week, but not everything you can get done in 1 week.
Right.
So you lay out your 6-week action plan. The next 6 weeks, this is what I'm going to do. And obviously, if you're doing it right now, your 6-week action plan is finalized. This is by the end of November.
And then at the end of 6 weeks, then you look at it and see if you're held accountable to what you said you were.
Right. Right. Exactly. And obviously, you're planting seed now for a lot of spring business, but you can't really take the attitude of, well, nobody's going to list right now, so I'm not going to talk to anybody. So sometimes just putting it on paper and saying,
I'm not taking any kind of attitude like
Right.
that. I'm just like, I treat this just like it's July, you know what I mean, or whatever. I'm just going along and going along and going along.
right, the seeds for next year are already planted. You're either planting them or you're not.
I actually have
You have a good
promise to
potential
be a
pipeline.
listing, yeah, definitely. $300,000 house in my old neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it was waiting for this. Tell me they're going to, and they've insisted that they used to be much more listings.
Okay.
She had a listing.
Good. All right, guys. Thanks for coming.